Yo guys, we are in the dark because you guys asked for it and you get it. So StepTeam, you guys asked for the underground collective called StepTeam. So shout out to Ivies and shout out to Majins. And basically this track is called Blats, I think. And it just sounds really nice. And I'll show you guys the patterns behind it.
I had to walk in the juggling, but we in the car with Blats, we still in the house.
So you have to think of this genre in like ta 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 ta, but without a ta 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 sound. It will help you understand the rhythms behind this. We're at 150 BPM. You guys look at the project files for free, whatever we create today. Just go to busyworksbeats.com/betterbeatmaker. So the thing is, you want to find like a trappish snare, just a tonal snare, and a simple hi-hat. The key is to go to the channel rack. In the top right, we're going to turn up what's called the swing. Mine's at 83%. I found higher than this sounds a little too stiff. So you want to keep it somewhere around 80-70%. And the key is that we're at a really high BPM. So swing only occurs when notes are back to back. Okay, so basically, the core kind of fundamental rhythm is ta 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 ta, like that. So it's like a dragged hi-hat, really interesting bounce. What took me a while to understand though is that snare, but I think the snare was like when you understand how they're perceiving music, in my opinion. Down, 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 down. So when you think of it that way, you can understand how a snare would end up here. All right, and the sounds again are from Jersey Club Kit, so you guys can find those on Reddit. So you guys will get all these sounds for free. There's the from Jersey Club. Here's a stomp. I added multiple stomps because I think he's using, and again, we're not trying to copy his song exactly, but I'm pretty sure he's using something like this. And I think if you drag this into the browser, it basically came from a Jersey Club Kit. So I'm pretty sure they're using, like, here it is, right? Claps. This one, if you right click, locate file, it says it's in a Jersey Club Kit. So that's where I assume these sounds are coming from mostly, is the Jersey Club type stuff. All right, so now that we understand that, I added some more just for you guys. So all types of stomps for you guys. We may or may not use them. But the main thing again is if we're starting from scratch, turn your swing up to 83 and then add these little two-step hi-hats like this. It will create it like a t-t-t-t-t, but it's more relaxed. So it's almost like you're doing t-t-t-t, but it's just, I don't know how to explain it. Like the time difference between these two notes is long enough to where it feels like two separate notes and not like t-t-t-t. Now, if you want to switch it up, you can go to your graph editor in the top right, go to note repeat and just add little note glitches here and there. Again, there's no formula. It's just whatever you guys like. Now from here, the thing that I found for this song specifically is the snare comes on like the same timing as the hi-hats. So I think they just kind of figured out what sounded good for the beat. I mean, there's no pattern except for tresillo. So if we were to do tresillo, it'll be here. So this is like 3C. It's not the whole tresillo, but it's a tresillo gap. Okay, so it's really spread out. And what else is there to get into? That's pretty much the core of it. Now we need to go record. Also, forgot the stomp sound. All right, let's go to pattern 3. And then you want to use this little stomp or whip sound and then a stomp. So I found that their whip sound is on the downbeat. And it sounds like the stomp they're using, they kind of have it all the way throughout. They could be truncating it. Again, we're not trying to copy everything they do. Like, you got to be creative. I'm just showing you guys the thing that makes their sound different. Came down to this for the most part. So we're going to right click fill each 4 steps. Now that's probably too many, so let's kind of just get rid of some. And just turn this down. Now that might get repetitive, so over time you want to switch that up. But let's copy this into the main patterns, pattern 1, and then on 2 we're going to switch it up a little bit. Okay, so we're just switching it up. All right, now we got to basically create the music that they sampled. So here, this is from the actual sample record, and we're going to go back and reference the other notes here, but let me record in this Da, 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 da. Key to that sound is this pitch bend. Again, we're using sounds from the Chord Chronos 2. These are not NFL. Let's add that in. One mistake I made here is recording on pattern 1, so we got to do that again because for whatever reason FL will just blow up. Now let's do it again. Let me do it again. So that's all we need is that little riff. Now we could chop it and, you know, mix it up wherever we want. I'm just gonna chop it. You guys get again the project file, so you can do whatever you want with this stuff. So we're gonna treat it like a sample. Okay, there's no magic one thing to do with the sample. You can do anything you guys want. But the first thing we're gonna do is just let it play through and just turn it down. It just seems a little loud. So let's double click in here, turn the volume down. Now we need to reference the sample because there's like chords that go dun 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 dun, something like that.
Show, I'm happy, okay, I'm finna strike out. God.
Dun 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 dun. So the sample itself has swing in it. And they're adding like a sub bass underneath. All right, so we need to figure out what kind of instrument that is. It sounds like a piano. It's really hard to tell if it's a piano or a guitar, but it's definitely a string type instrument. Because we can't really tell, we're just gonna stick with stringed instrument for this. So let's go to Omnisphere because this has probably the highest quality sounds. We don't want to pick random sounds here. And let's go to category. Can we do category? Let's do all. Let's do category. We need some kind of keyboard. We're specifically keys, and even let's do pianos actually, not keys. And let's just hit shuffle because I don't have time to be guessing. All right, now we just got to figure out the top note of the chord and pick a piano that's a little more truncated, not super reverby. All right, let's make sure we have the top note. Again, we're not trying to recreate what they're doing. I'm just trying to at least start from where they started. All right, so the top notes are C sharp, and then it goes to C. So let's just start with 2. It sounds like a simple triad. This piano is way too reverby though. If these pianos don't give me the sound I want, we're just gonna load up Keyscape. We don't have time to be guessing which keyboard is which. All right, so let's load this up. And let's do like a felt piano. It's very soft. It's not like super harmonically rich. Let's take off this reverb. Now that, you know, basically what I'm figuring out now is it a major chord or a minor chord, a minor triad. So I'm just going by ear. We're using chord codes. Let me show you guys what this chord code approach is. So this is a method I've been training for years. And it's basically how to create a chord from scratch. So we hear the notes. Okay, so starting here, this is how you reverse engineer chords, especially simple triads like this. You're gonna take a top note, and then we're gonna use what's called a chord code. So chord code, we count these in what's called integer notation. I call them chord codes because of the way we approach it in music production. All right, so here's the top note. And so a minor chord, for example, is 0, 3, 7. So if I were to start at this note, this would be 0, and I would count up my keyboard note by note, 0, 3, 7. If you need help, here's chord codes right here. For example, we can add minor, and it shows you what a C minor chord is. You start at C, count up 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, and then count to 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. That always gives you a minor chord all the time. So the system uses integer notation. Okay, so we know the note, this note's in there, and we know this note's in there. So now we're gonna take this note and assume that it's the top note. So instead of counting up the keyboard like this, we're gonna count down the keyboard. So this is 7, and we're gonna count backwards. 6, 5, 4, counting each note, by the way. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So we're gonna start here and assume that it's a major, and if it's not a major, we're gonna play a minor chord. Just simple as that. So it sounds like a major chord. So we're playing F sharp major. Let me show you guys the chords. Hold on, yeah. So here's the chord, F sharp major. So 0, 4, 7, F sharp being the root note, 0. Count up 4 notes on your keyboard, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then count to 7, 5, 6, 7. That gives you a major chord all the time. So that system helps you reverse engineer chords too. So now we need to figure out the next chord. So it's almost like a reverse Travis Scott chord progression, funny enough. So the second chord is F minor, 0, 3, 7. So it's starting at F, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, gives you F minor. So I'm just gonna play with a swing to it. And if we need to add an exaggerated swing, we can let FL Studio add swing to our instrument. It sounds confusing, but basically we're recording in swing, so we shouldn't need to add swing in the channel rack. I'll show you guys how to target this plugin specifically. So without further ado, let's add this in. All right, so we added the swing in there. So we again shouldn't have to, we don't need more swing. Now by default, FL Studio applies swing, the global swing right here, to everything in the channel rack. So if you don't want swing on a specific instrument, you can click on the instrument, go to the settings, go to the wrench tool, and just turn the swing down here. There's another way to do it per, like let's say you want to highlight multiple things that need swing. You would just select the things you either want swing on or don't want swing on. Go to the top left of the channel rack, go to the drop down and go to, I always forget where it's at because I don't use this very much. Set swing mix for selected, and then set an amount for that, for those or that specific sound. So in that case, it's easier for me to just go to Omnisphere and turn down the swing manually. All right, now I think the only thing missing here is the bass and the vocal. And there's like a doop 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 bass in the background. So let's add a little bass line as if we're sampling. Let's open up Omnisphere one more time. We're gonna open up Trillion within Omnisphere. So this is like, it's not technically an Omnisphere. We're doing a bass instrument. Again, we're acting like we're sampling ourselves. We could do an acoustic bass. It's a little bit brighter. All right, so I'm just adding that little groove in there. Forget my voice out. All right, now let's add this bass. Again, most people would just sample, but for me, I just want a little more control. And again, we can do the same thing. Go to Omnisphere. Go to the settings, and we can adjust the swing. Now what I'm going to do though is I might filter this sound here. Let's add an EQ. And just chop out some of the lows so that when we add our bass, it doesn't clash. And all we got to do now is just reference the levels here.
That bitch know none. We're in New York at the same time, they say not on none. Too locked in, got hang time, pussy boy, get done.
All right, so they're using like more of the chop snare. Let me see if I can find that exact snare. So I'm going to swap out the snare only because it's a little more tonal, the chop snare. So we're going to be a little more sound specific here. But as you guys can see, once you kind of get the structure, everything else is just kind of whatever you want to do. So I'm trying not to copy their thing exactly. I feel like that's just boring to just copy people, but you guys have pretty much the ground level formula. I'm gonna shout out Ivy's and my Jins and everybody else involved. So let's just make sure we're not missing instruments here. So I want to reference the track.
Hit KSG on perimeter for like the Synth team. Ain't no nigga I want to take the fly like him, G. Real Mac, don't forget.
Sounds like there's like a vocal chant in the background, like hoo ha. I might be making that up though.
Hit the shells, no, I ain't stingy.
It feels like wicked. So there's definitely another thing happening.
Sticking Pele coat, I know my history.
So let's see if we can keep the same vibe without copying him. So this is where I think we need to respect producer styles and not just like blatantly just copy everything. It's one thing to learn, but it's when like people just, I don't know how to explain it. I like to teach you guys how to be creative is my point. Now they chopped this sample up a little bit. So to save time, I'm just going to go to snap to grid beat mode and grab the slice tool, slice stuff, and then use the slip tool to just move stuff around. I know I'm still in the dark, y'all, but we're on that kind of mode. So now it kind of stutters and it's more random. It's not like predictably the same thing. Now another trick is to chop out the first beat and just leave it blank. It's more of a Dilla vibe trick, but for the kick specifically. Start up these stomps a little bit. Here's where it's like controlled chaos. Like from this point, it's about shifting everything into its own pocket. I don't think there's a formula from here. I think it's just as long as we stay within the harmonic bounds. I'm gonna see if I can get this stomp. Right, now their bass was like very subby, so I'm gonna use Serum to create a bass or go through our basses. I already gave you guys some bass sounds. Let me show you guys. So here's our Discord. We have 130,000 people, 130,400 people in here. Just go to discord.gg/busyworksbeats. I'll leave a link below. Click at the top where it says Busyworks Beats. Go to where it says show all channels. This way you see all the download stuff on the left side. Scroll down and let's go for where it says free plugins. I gave you guys what's called the Underground Part 2. And in here there's 67 presets. And I didn't even know it had 67. It just totaled that. So it's ironic. And funny enough, long story short, they're built for this genre. So we're going to load those sounds here. I even gave you some bonus sounds. So let's go to here and see if any of these fit. We're not going to force sounds in here, but we're just going to see if they fit. That was a little too bitey for this track. So here's a perfect subby one. And all I'm doing is playing F, F sharp, and C sharp. It's playing Trecio. That same Trecio bounce. Trecio. Now for the bass, I'm not doing anything too crazy. Okay. If I do a change up, I'll do it at the very end, like I just did here. I'll pull it up an octave so you guys can hear. Now what I'm going to do here is hit Shift Q to quantize the notes. We're actually going to go to the bass. And actually, we're going to leave it on the swing to see if it matches the rhythm a little bit. right, so we're gonna pull that down an octave or two. Right, so now we just gotta fill in the background music. Kind of want more snares in here. My ear just needs to hear more. So I'm just gonna add more snares for my ear. But I think on the third one, it gets a little repetitive. So let's make that unique and just drop out the snare. That way it's not going all the way through. And now I'm just gonna add whatever music I think sounds good. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm adding. It's just that it's harmonically. Let's also switch this piano. It's not very, like, it's kind of dark sounding. It's very cinematic. So let's pick a piano that has a little more brightness on it. I like this piano. It just is my vibe. So I don't know. This is my vibe. I'm not saying you guys need this piano, but so I'm just gonna add a little vibey stuff in between. I'm just freestyling and we'll keep whatever sounds good. So again, some stuff was cool, some stuff was bad. So we're just gonna cut out what sucked and keep what didn't suck. But I'm trying to think, why does this sound different? Hold up. Did I record right there? Oh, was I playing the keys? Oh. Oh, I was hearing the lead sound, so I thought that was the keys the whole time. I don't know, now the keyboard sounds weird. So this is where, again, this is up to style. I'm trying not to copy their sound exactly. And also remember, it could be a guitar tone. Now, Omnisphere doesn't come with a gazillion guitars, so what I might do, I'm trying to think, do I have expand on here? I think I have expand. Let's try expand. It's just a little bit quicker to cycle through sounds too. Let's go to guitars and just I feel like this is more of that vibe. Let's see. I think it's a synth doing that though. It's like boom, boom. It's like a brassy synth. Yeah, it's definitely a synth. Okay. So now that we kind of narrowed down what's happening, the thing is, the tricky part is getting a tone like that. It's definitely an 80s kind of brassier tone. But the issue is there's so many presets that could be that going through every single one would take forever. So what we need to do, let me see what category it would even be in. How's brass not a category? Let's just do all and then search brass. See how these could be anything? Did it? Wait. This sounds kind of dope. This sounding. It's kind of like this, but not as, man, we have to do too much sound design for this. So this is, again, this is all up to you guys' style. There's no like magic answer. I like the sound of this one a little bit darker. So I'm going to space out the lead and do more of a call and response. I might go back in. Alright, now we gotta find a keyboard sound for the lead. Alright, so I'm just gonna record whatever. Dang, of course there's always that one note. So I just wanted more variation in the song. I didn't want it to be the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Just gonna make sure we get rid of the overlaps. Let's go back to these stomps. Let's see if we can add more variety. Again, I like different stomps. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna do like weird sound design things, like truncate this stomp sound so it cuts off. Did it record? Oh my goodness. It recorded. This is why patterns. What the F? FL Studio, man. Alright, so now we gotta figure out like a vocal chop to add in here. How long is this video? I feel like this video is like 40 minutes. Alright, 30 minutes. We gotta add some kind of vocal chop in here somewhere. Or some kind of vocal sample. Just gonna type in box and just whatever pops up, pops up. Alright, so here's a dope like loop. And debating how I want to do it. I want to see if I want to chop it up. I might chop it up, but I think what I'm just going to do is just play it as a one shot looped. Like that. So I'm just going to add my own vibe in here. Alright, so this is something different. Let's do one thing. Let's mess with the swing parameter in the top right. I feel like that's more in the pocket that they're at. So we're at 90% swing. So again, from here, we're just adding our own vibe. There's no like, now on the second half, I'm gonna this is where I'm gonna add my own harmonic influence. Let's pull up different sounds here. So again, we're just doing different harmonic things. It's hard to think in different keys all at the same time, so my brain has to get the chords right. Also, I'm going to take off the MIDI because we're hearing like 80 samples trigger. So we're playing E flat minor. Let me show you guys the chords real quick. It's kind of just starting around E minor, E flat. So it's E flat add 9 technically. And then I'm going down to G. But the tricky part is I have to convert the, and then my ear wants to hear dun dun. So I gotta figure out what chord goes next. Okay, so I know I'm moving a lot, but this is all just muscle memory at this point. So let's do. I forgot the chord I just played 2 seconds ago. All right, this is why I said this is a little bit difficult in the moment, but we're just gonna play these chords. FL records so much stuff. All right. All right, just gotta get that chord recorded. And then my ear wants to hear dun. Yeah, let's do something like that. It's hard to hear with these chords, man. All right, so we got to arrange this so stuff's out the way. I don't know if I like the ending. So I was trying to play F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, C. I think that sounds cooler, so let's just do it again. There's chords everywhere, y'all. Tell me that recorded. Where did it go? Did it record? Did I not hit record the whole time? Oh my gosh. I gotta do it again. I feel like if that chord is gonna be there, the underneath chord, the dun, 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 that needs to change. So now we're kind of shifting the complete direction of where this is headed. So I figure out what chord sounds good. I don't know if I like that ending. I'm just gonna leave that, the chord is the ending. Now I gotta piece together all these chords that I forgot what was what. Let's figure it out. It's the starting chord. I think this is supposed to be the second chord here. Let's chop that out. Again, this is my musical take on the genre. This is just me adding my own sauce to it. Not that you guys need to add this. Let's see if there's any other instruments. I don't think we heard any more instruments. I think it's really just stylistic rapping at this point. It's also like open hi-hats and stuff in here. All right, so we can also chop up the sample, the samples that we added. So So we might do that just to add more swing. So let's highlight all of the audio. And let's save this as a new version just in case. So I'm taking all the audio we recorded. We're going to hit Control G to group the audio. And now we have that as audio. We could chop it. But what we still need to do is convert the bass and the chords. So let's highlight these two. Highlight these two. I think Cody showed us this. Highlight these. Go to the top left. Go to, where's it at? I forgot how to do this already. Go to Tools, Export. Or excuse me, Consolidate Playlist Selection from Selection Start. I just realized we got to undo all this. Oh my goodness, y'all. So many things here. So I got to, basically when you hit Control G, you have to make sure your export settings are the right thing before you do this. So I'm going to export to the desktop just as arbitrarily and then come back to the session here. Okay, so that's a stereo. So maybe it was just the MIDI. Let's highlight all this. Again, you guys get the project files. I know it's a lot of steps. You see how I hit Control G and it says merged? We don't want that. So I got to figure out how to do this. All right, so it turns out Control G is the shortcut, but you guys can change the settings by going to Tools, Consolidate Playlist Selection from Selection Start. So mine was on mono for a different purpose. So we're going to keep this at 32-bit stereo 512. We don't need any effects. Or yeah, we do actually, because there was a filter on some of the sounds. Actually, I'm thinking of the bass, but we don't need the master. I don't even think we have effects. Let's just hit cut remainder. All right, so now it's stereo. Before it was mono. All right, so now we have this. Let's hit double click, hit Control L. Now we need to consolidate the MIDI. So let's highlight these two. Highlight them on the track level here. Go to the top left, go to Tools, Consolidate Playlist from Selection Start. Again, Cody showed me this way. I didn't know you could do this multiple tracks at one time. So let's highlight this 32-bit stereo, boom. This will convert it to audio. The reason we're doing audio is because we need to use a function in Fruity Slicer. So we're going to highlight this, hit Control Shift to highlight multiple, hit Control G again. And now it converts all that into one audio file. So all our melodic stuff, except for the 808, is audio. So now we can double click in here, right click, and we can open this in Fruity Slicer. The reason we're going in Slicer is because it has a stretch function. Okay, so let's slice this normal. Where is it at? Let's do normal slice. Slice it by the beat. And we need to go to our channel rack. Find a new pattern, hit Control L, send it to the mixer. We're going to right click up here, find a new pattern. And then we need to go inside the plugin and dump the chops into the piano roll. So click here, go to normal. It will chop it one by one. So it should go in order. And now we can drag this pattern into the playlist instead of the audio playing. So now we have a little more finesse over the swing. Now remember, the channel rack swing will apply to these chops too. So it might be too much for this instrument, so we can pull this back. Now we can go in and do weird stuff like time stretch, change the tuning. We can also mess with the attack and decay. I don't think we need to do much here, but we can also mess with the tuning. Let's try going down one semitone. And we also have to make sure the bass, I feel like we were in the right key. I'm just trying to stretch it too much. Just showing you guys what's possible. All right, so again, this is not a direct clone. We're not trying to clone. All right, now we got to mix this a little bit. So let's send it to submix, call it beat mix. You guys will get the project files. Let's route this. I might ungroup the audio only because when we don't have access to the original audio, it's like, where was stuff at? I guess technically we do actually. What am I saying? So we have, let's just unmute the original audio. I feel like that's the best approach here because the Fruity Slicer. Okay, so luckily it didn't move all my stuff. So I want to turn the sound down. It's just too bright for my ear. And I want to send specific instruments to the reverb, not everything. All right, so I know I'm moving quickly here, but it's just organization type stuff. I'm going back to change the brass tone. This one's a little more open. I don't think their original track has kicks. Let me see. Is there a kick in there? All right, so their sound just had a stomp. So in the chords, I'm gonna actually add, because it goes like that. I'm adding these notes just to lead the ear a little bit more. So we're gonna layer this with the pitch bending synth. I feel like this brass is like a little detuned. We don't have time to go through everything about this patch here. I think it's just the chorus. I like this tone, it's very anthemic. It's a little bright, but I like the anthemic sound to it. Alright, so this way we can mute the other synth because I think it just plays too much throughout the track. Now let's mix this track a little bit. I think this brass adds that playful sound in here that I've heard in other tracks. This makes me want to add some more like digital type sounds in here. So I want to go back and add like super high tuned, high pitched digital sounds in this. I feel like it'd be a cool little background thing. All right, so let's go back to Omnisphere. So we're gonna look for some like percussive tones, maybe bell tones to start there. Again, this second half is like my influence. Omnisphere about to blow up the computer. Hold up. Alright, so now we just need like little digital sounds. I might actually go back to the full thing and just hit shuffle. Add a little playful stuff. Little turnaround type sounds. Again, you guys get the project files for free, so don't try to memorize all this. I like the brass is a little too mono. So I'm gonna go to the Fruity Stereo Shaper. This way I don't have to go into the patch itself. Just want to leave the errors in there. Let's turn the sound down. So it definitely adds that like video game sound that I've heard in other beats. So now we're merging like you guys saw over time how that sound selection changed. So I like to write the music first and then worry about the sound. See if we can layer some good kind of guitar in here. So again, this is just me adding my own touch. Just always want to hit record and play the wrong notes, y'all, every single time. Probably just read dun. So now I think we have everything. Again, the right side is just my own ideas. Let's mix this. So I'm messing with the swing amount to see the groove that fits best for this beat. chop up like a vocal over top. Again, we're adding our style to this. We don't want to just copy and paste. I feel like a regalia type vocal, female vocal would sound cool chopped up. All right, so we're going to give this 808 or the sub an envelope. That way we can hear it re-trigger. This also adds a little more dynamic. All right, so now I'm taking the sample. We're going to drag it into Serum so that it does an FFT transfer. Boom, drag. Oh, where? Okay, boom. All right, so there's different types of FFT. There's, I don't know what this is, normal. Let's just do the top one because I don't know what. Oh, I forgot we could use this as a sample. Forgot about that. Actually, I might try it as a sample. I forgot it has that option. Let's mess with this in Serum. It might work, it might not work. It's an experiment. All right, so now we have the mix. We can play this twice through. So that's how you take their style and turn it into your own thing. So shout out to StepTeam, Ivies, and everybody else involved. It was a long video, but you guys saw how we went from structure to chaos back to structure. It really is that type of approach. Go to busyworksbeats.com/betterbeatmaker to get these project files for free. Subscribe if you're new. Shout out to you guys. Peace.